Welcome, everybody, to Conversations That Matter. I'm Alex Newman, senior editor at the New American Magazine. Thank you for joining us. We have a very special guest today. His name is Representative Josiah Magnuson. He represents a district in South Carolina. His bio is extraordinary. If we had more time, I'd go through it, but he is just so active in the political realm, also serving God in the ministry. He, of course, has a productive work as well. He just does so many things. He's homeschooled, of course, another testament to the amazingness of true godly Christian homeschooling. Josiah, thank you so much for joining us. The reason I wanted to bring you on today is because you guys have a very important bill in South Carolina. I think it's one of the most significant things happening at the national level today, and yet so far nobody has really picked it up. You guys are trying to protect the people of South Carolina from this massive power grab of the World Health Organization and the Biden administration. Tell us about it.
Well, thank you, Alex. And yeah, thank you so much for all that you do. And it's a privilege to be with you today. And we have a great bill right now that is to really nullify the WHO and to stop this unratified treaty from taking effect. This is so important because this is such a grab on our American sovereignty and on our ability to respond to health emergencies. I mean, we said after COVID, never again, right? Like we said, this is never going to happen. We're going to stand up for our freedoms next time. Well, if the Biden WHO treaty goes into effect, we're not going to have the means to hang on to our freedoms in the future potentially. So this bill is it's a tool to fight back, to use the really rightful remedies that we have available, and stand up for our Constitution. And it just says that the state of South Carolina will not use any personnel or resources that we have to help to enforce a treaty that's unratified, and it expressly applies it to this WHO treaty that is coming down the pike.
That's wonderful, Josiah. Now, the argument will come from the federal supremacists that, well, this is federal and, supremacy clause, you have no authority to interfere in the enforcement of this thing. What say you?
Okay, well, two things to that. First of all, this is a unratified treaty, so it's not constitutional by any means. The Constitution requires that a 2/3 majority vote has to ratify in the Senate. The U.S. Senate has to ratify a treaty. So there's no argument that this abides by the U.S. Constitution. So therefore, it's null and void on its face already. But it has not gone into effect. So we're seeing, potentially 2024 is what I'm hearing. But, this is an opportunity to push back against something that by any stretch is not federal law right now. So, I mean, let's use the opportunity we have. It's not like this is something that's, that they're saying is mandated on us. It could create mandates if it does go into effect, and we need to get ahead of it and go on offense and say, if this does go into effect, then we're not going to stand for it. We're already setting up a framework to resist this incursion on our American sovereignty and on the Bill of Rights.
Yeah, and of course, that is what the founders intended. And even if this thing were to be ratified, as Thomas Jefferson pointed out, as the Supreme Court itself pointed out in Reed versus Covert in 1957, they can't just assume new powers by ratifying a treaty. Josiah, this is H4246, if I understand correctly.
Yes.
That's South Carolina General Assembly. And how can folks in South Carolina get active to help move this forward? And what do you say to folks and legislators in other states who are also concerned about this issue and want to try to take action to protect their rights, their freedoms, and their sovereignty?
So thank you for that. I would love to hear from them if they'd like to go to my website, josiahmagnuson.com, and reach out. I'd like to get them plugged in, and I'd love to send them the full text of the bill and assist, especially legislators in other states. I'm always open to a phone call or a text message. But as far as folks on the ground, please call your legislators, especially the Judiciary Committee. The Judiciary Committee isn't the most conservative right now. There's a lot of Republicans that didn't necessarily haven't been upholding the Republican Party platform. Surprise there, right? But we need people to speak up and demand that their legislators actually stand up for our rights and not allow this pandemic treaty to go into effect that strips us of our ability to respond if something like COVID ever were to happen again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking at the text of the bill right now. Specifically invokes Article 6 of the U.S. Constitution, which, of course, requires that all statutes, all treaties be made in pursuance thereof, as in they must be constitutional. And also it refers to the 10th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which, of course, preserves all powers not delegated to the federal government, to the states, or to the people. Josiah, thank you so much for this quick update. Hopefully we can get you back on for a broader discussion. But thank you for what you guys are doing. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for all that you do. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate your work. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. God bless you. Folks, that's all we have for today. Just a quick update. Get this out there. Send it to your legislators. Send it to the grassroots leaders in your community. This is a huge, huge issue. And there are ways for states to protect themselves, as Josiah just explained. I'm Alex Newman. This is Conversations That Matter. Until next time, thanks for watching, and God bless you all.
I certainly would not want a constitutional convention. I mean, whoa. Who knows what would come out of that?
It isn't the Constitution that's the problem. It is the people who ignore the Constitution.
What we need are just more people that would read the one we have.
It's up to us to hold our elected officials accountable,
who understand the Constitution and are willing to take a stand when necessary.